Welcome, my dear Pisces. The sun is now in Aries. And Aries is the rebel. And we see that the sun is the innocence, the master that can see beauty in anything, even in a rebellious energy. And this is the beginning of a new sun year, right? We had the spring equinox, and the spring equinox is the initiation to a new year. And so you are, of course, invited to see clear how you now want to bring in an innocent way this rebellion into the world. The sun is giving then the light to the moon, which is in your sign. So the moon is in the moon. So there is no other card here. And you see that the moon is always the subconscious, is how you feel. And here we have the past lives. Learning to understand through your past lives that through your dreams, right, because it affects your dream world, to read the signs. Now you are ruled by Neptune, and Neptune are the new visions, and Neptune is going into Aries for 14 years. And so we're not dreaming about the new vision anymore. We act, we are rebellious, and we feel it. We feel it very strongly. Everybody's waking up and wants to take the new vision forward. And so we're going to look at that as well, of course, right? So it's really important to understand that the planets are included in the tarot, and so we will of course always look at the stations. Now Mercury, which is here the magician, and in Osho Zen Tarot it's the existence, is in Aries, a retrograde. And so we take time to think clearly about what we want, how we stand up, how we will be executing this rebellious side deep within us. And so we will look at that as well. Now Venus was also in Aries, retrograde, but now Venus has moved into Pisces. And so Venus is bringing to you the feminine, the loving energy, right? Opposite of the rebel. And we will see that they are a perfect couple. She's the creativity and he's the rebel that is wanting to use that creativity. And so we will look at that, of course, as well. So the court card for you is trust. You are the 12th zodiac sign. As a Pisces, you are the dreamer. And of course, the 12th house is connected with you. And the 12th house is always that you are spiritually connected, but also really into art. So if your birthday is between February 8th and March 11, then this is your court card. If not, you have in the description below all the dates. Remember that there is a pure Pisces, right, court card, and of course the soul aspect in Pisces, and then there is a mix. So have a look below. I have listed all of it there. Then we look back to your last reading where you had Pisces, Sun and New Moon, and I hope you planted a seed. And the message was, when the Master Osho appears, you know it's time to trust yourself. And the first time Osho has come up through the Osho Zen Tarot, and this is the deck I have given to you. And in all the time I've been using the deck, it's the first time that that card appeared. And Osho was a big master, and I think this is what's wanting to come to all of us. See the new vision now being executed by Aries, right? Neptune in Aries, that's where I see Osho has done his work so that we can understand how we become our own master, and in that mastery we can become a rebel, but a rebel that is not aggressive, a rebel that is bringing its vision or the ideas, right, the new vision out into the world. And you see the master here, right, the Zen master, and you see this is what's happening, right? The sun in Aries and Neptune moving into Aries. I mean, it's quite a message, right, that is coming to us. Now, Aries for me in the yoga position is the meditation. So remember that through meditation you see clearly, and the yoga position for you, fish pose and upward and downward facing dog. Great, so I looked into the last reading if there is a reoccurring card, and there isn't. And so we can begin the reading. So the sun, right, that is now bringing the light to the moon, is bringing you the pressure. And we feel the pressure because the Aries energy is the rebel, but a rebel that is quite innocent, a rebel that is not destructive, a rebel that is through love being rebellious, right? And still there is a pressure going forward into the future, passing through a state of consciousness. And here we have the 26. And the 26, of course, we have the 20 in there. That's Pluto. Pluto has moved into Aquarius, and Aquarius are the technologies and the new communities. And now we have the sun coming out. Look at that. And so you see that in the 6 is the love, a love that is so clear, so strong. And you did have last time the lovers, but not from the tarot deck, but through the Wheel of Fortune, right? There was this relationship couple situation going on. And interesting enough is that sometimes we pass through a threshold, right? And together we get the 8, and the 8 is the infinite learning and understanding of how we can become a better human being. Now the 19th major arcana turns into a 10. The 10 and the 8 is the 18, and that's you. You are here being pushed to recognize the new path goes to the right. Last time we had the reading to the left, right? So we go 6 months to the left to this inner introverted new moon state of consciousness, and then we go 6 months out to the full moon, which you get in your opposite sign, Virgo. What is Aries wanting to say here? Because the sun is in Aries, the Queen of Wands is here. So the pressure to go through the transformation, right? A transformation is always to recognize a new state of innocence, a new state of consciousness, a new state of rebelliousness, right? And so here comes in your career the Queen of Wands, which is Aries, right? And so Aries is talking. Aries is coming to you and is saying, well, here you are. Here you take action. Here is the soul aspect of Aries, and here's the court card of Aries, right? And Aries is literally saying, yes, you can get through that pressure. You can do it, because then here the 26 plus the 1 is the 27, and then we have a 9. The 10 and the 9 is the 19, and that's again the 19 here, and the 10 is left. And so from 1 you go to 10, and that's the path that we're learning, to go through the stages from 1 to 10. And then the number repeats, right? Because the 1 and the 0 is, of course, now there is a new foolishness to explore. Well, the 1 I realized, now I have the 10, and next time I have the 100, and then I have the 1,000. Each time a 0 adds to it, right? And so you're learning through this pressure. And so this is taking action. This is going forward in what you want to show to the world, who you want to be. And so in there, recognize that you are ready. You are ready to make this world a better place, right? Because Aries as a soul and Aries as a court card is saying, now you're creative enough to see how far you can go through this transformation. Then the moon. The moon is bringing you the wailing tree, the reconciliation. And we have here the 59, and the 5 are the 5 senses, and the 9 is the completion. And the completion is always that state of consciousness where we recognize the next one is the 10, the 1 and the 0. And you're learning to see that here the 18 is also a 9 when we calculate it together, right? So here the 9 portal, but I have to calculate the 9 and the 5 together. We get the 14, and the 14 is, of course, temperance. And temperance is finding in your reconciliation this wailing tree, a tree that is actually in pain, to awaken to something that makes sense for both sides. There are two hands, right? And we cannot create a sound with one hand clapping. Two hands, it's like that's duality, that's polarity, that's the essence of this dimension. And so the 14 turns into a 5, and the 5 is then that moment where we realize how important it is to awaken to an inner equilibrium, because the wailing tree is bringing you grief and mourning, a time of necessary losses and reconciliations. And so this is what's coming in your dreams, right? And one important thing to consider before you make any changes is that you need to allow yourself to feel your disappointment, your loss, and mourn what was and what could not be, right? Don't escape it. Don't run away from it. And so here are the gifts. And in those gifts that you give yourself, you are seeing then the proper closure. And through that proper closure, you are able to move on. And what's coming through your deck, right? Because the moon is in your sign, you get the Lovers. So this is Gemini, and Gemini, as you can see here, it's the self-love. You're looking at yourself through a partner. So maybe there is an Aries that is pushing you, that is bringing you to the next level, right? Because different signs create different energies within you. Some are more compatible than others, but in the end, we want to be in love with all of them, because the more we are in love with all of what we are, even that neglected part in us, the more we can come to a deep, deep, deep self-love, right? And so you see here, the 6 is apparent, right? The 5 and the 6 is the 11. So this is 9/11 or 11/9 as a date, if that rings something in you. So I leave the 11 because the 11 is a portal, is the inner teacher, is that I know that I am realizing now that something is coming to a closure and I'm arriving in self-love. I love myself and I do anything I can to maintain that, right? And so that's a beautiful message from the subconscious, right? Then we go into you. You are here the Knight of Cups. You are trusting. You are the number 12. And the first card that came through your deck is the number 6. Jupiter in Leo, the 6 of Wands. And the 6 of Wands is that success that we all would like to have, right? And the 6 is then with this 6, a 6-6 portal. And Jupiter is the expansion. Jupiter is saying, I want to have fun. I jump into that fun. So the 12 and the 6 is the 18. And that's you again. So enjoy Jupiter in Leo. And Leo is really that type of zodiac sign that says, I want to have fun. I really want to have fun. He's the king of wands. You have Aries, the queen of wands, right? He's the king of wands. And you are the knight of cups. And so sometimes to include the fire into that watery aspect that you are is good for you. What is the Mother Piece Tarot bringing? You're getting the 6 of discs to the left, which is the moon in Taurus. So look at this. You have the 6 of Pentacles to the left. So the 6 points here at the trust. So trust that the giving and the taking is a cycle. And so the 6, 6, and here the 6, 3 times the 6. It's like, I get it, right? 3 times the 6, that's the hexagram. And in the hexagram, we're learning to arrive. We're learning to know that everything has a spiritual connection. And so the 6, 6 is here, and the 12 turns into a 3, right? So the 3 is left, and the 3 is always the Empress. The Empress that is now in Pisces. Venus is in Pisces. She is bringing you more of this trust. And so here, the moon in Taurus is letting you know you can trust when you give, that you also can take, right? And when you take, you can also give. It's the most beautiful and perfect cycle. So you're trusting that everything has its purpose. There's a 6, 6, and then out of the 12, you're creating the 3. And so a really beautiful message is letting you know success is there when you give and when you also know how to take. Then we're going to look at Mercury, right? The magician. Here, the beautiful existence, the woman sitting on the lotus. And the deck brought you the hunter, the number 27. So the 27 has come up here. The 26 plus the 1 was the 27. So you have a 27, 27 portal. So you take action. You want to take action and be the hunter, gatherer, right? And so the 27 plus the 1 is the 28, and that's the 10. And in that 10, we recognize how important it is that we awaken, that we are coming to who we truly are. Because in the hunter energy, we taking care of ourselves. We are in symbiotic energy with the nature, and in there we come then to be self-sufficient, and the 10 is the 1 and the 0. So understand, in the 1 and the 0, there's the next step. After the 9 comes the 10, and then again we usually calculate then the 11 into a 2. But I leave the portals. The 12, the 1 and the 2, is the 3, right? We always go down to one single digit number because we can handle that way better than so many digits. But you see that something is preparing you to see that Mercury retrograde in Aries is making out of you someone that is taking care of things, right? What is Aries bringing to you? The Ace of Swords. Now, the Ace of Swords is what here Mercury is all about: the thought, the idea, the star. And the interesting part with this card is always, why is he holding the blade and not here the handle? Right? And so it's, at first I didn't even see it, right? I was like, yeah, the Ace of Swords. And then all of a sudden I was like, why is he holding the blade? He could hurt himself. But I also realized that no, he doesn't hurt himself because this thought doesn't cut him. He trusts this thought because is the holy thought, is that one little star that is coming down and letting you know that the 10 and the 1 is the 11. Again, the inner teacher is teaching you that Mercury, the magician, brings you, go and be the hunter. Go and see through one thought after the other what you need to do to be a hunter. And this is coming, of course, through the magician, through Aries, right? Aries, which is the rebel, and the rebel really knows what to do. Then we look at Neptune. Neptune, of course, which rules you, right? And so Neptune is always that hanged man. The new vision here is now in Aries. And of course, Aries is the rebel. Aries is, I take action. I'm the queen of wands. I can handle pressure. I go through it no matter what's going on. And you see that here I have also a deck from Carolyn Myss. Here are the archetypes. The teacher is coming up. So you're aiming at the teacher. And I love that because usually the hangman, I look at the shadow side and not at the light side. And so the light side from the teacher is ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. And the communication is here. The pure communication is here. The communication is also here through Gemini. That's the communication that you have with yourself. How do you talk with yourself, right? And so here we're looking at that, but I gotta let you know that the shadow side of the teacher is manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. Of course, since she's aiming up at this trait, you know that this is something that you would do. This is something that you trust, right? This is something that the new vision, Neptune in Aries, is like, I take action to really be now a teacher that helps people to awaken. Now, what is Aries saying? Because Neptune is going into Aries, you get the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords is Moon in Libra. So you have one sword and two swords, that's three swords. And three swords is knowing or understanding that in the Three of Swords, we sometimes come into a situation that's a little difficult. But here the Moon in Libra is letting you know that you need to find a peacefulness deep within you, right? So you're aiming at the light aspect, and that's what makes you peaceful. And you see how she's crossing the arms. Now, what does that mean, and why are our eyes closed? Well, when we do yoga, right, we understand that the central spine, the Ida Pingala are crossing, and they're finding itself here and coming down into the nostril. But the right nostril is connected to the left brain, and the right nostril is connected to the right brain. So when I do this, I do subconsciously create a union between my right side that is touching the left shoulder and between my left side that's touching the right shoulder. So it's kind of like, right, it's kind of like this, the cross, and the crossing is always saying, I understand that the opposite needs to be united, and the uniting aspect is in front of my heart, right? That's my center. And so she's aiming up here, and knowing that you are working from here, that makes you peaceful. And of course, Libra is justice, right? And the moon deep in your subconscious, right? The justice comes up, and deep in your subconscious, you also see that here justice is in equilibrium through the Six of Pentacles, right? Hence a moon in Taurus. So the moon is always the subconscious. And in that subconscious, we see how important it is that we really understand that there is a union between the duality. Always the 2 is like, how do you unite, right? So the 12 becomes the 3 and the 2 is again the 5, and the 5 senses are always until the 5th chakra, where we realize then through the 3rd eye how we can awaken. Now this is of course then the 12, and the 2 is the 14 again, and the 14 is the equilibrium, is being in balance. And so of course I want to see also what is your deck bringing, because Neptune is, yes, in Aries, but Neptune is also ruled by you. And so here you have Sagittarius coming at you. Look at that arrow. It's almost like you're shooting that arrow up here and the arrow is coming back at you. And so that's the velocity. That's that Jupiter in Leo thing. If you take care of the world and do good things, that comes like immediately back at you, right? And so this is the 9th zodiac sign. This is Sagittarius. He's Jupiter ruled. And so here comes the intensity. There comes also, of course, the intention that we have when we want this new vision of being a teacher that helps people to become really independent, right? Teach someone how to fish, and you don't need to take care of them anymore. They are independent, and that's what we want to see in this world. And so the 9 and the 12 becomes the 21. That's the world, and the world needs this kind of thoughts, right? And in there comes the 3 again, and the 3 is the Empress. The 3 is always that empowerment to see that here we know that the peacefulness is deep within us. And so the 2 and the 9 is the 11. The inner teacher knows how to make yourself peaceful and happy. Now the last station we have, of course, Venus in Pisces, and Venus brought the Empress. So the Empress and this Empress are 2 different Empresses, right? So here she is creative, and here she is someone that's really regal, royal. And you see, right, that's 2 types of Empresses, but they understand each other. So there's a 33, and the 33's mastery always. And in that mastery, recognize that you can find who you want to be, right? Because Venus now is in your sign, is in Pisces. So trust what's coming here. Trust, right, that you maybe have been an Empress in the past life. But of course I want to see what is coming from your deck, and you get the isolation, the 3 of Swords. That's Saturn in Libra. And so you do have the Ace of Swords, then you have the 2 of Swords, Moon in Libra, and then you have here the 3 of Swords, and in your deck that's the isolation. That's like thinking that, of course, a 3-3-3 portal, 3 times the 3. It's like, and then here we had these 2 cards that also created the 3. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 times the 3, right? And you are recognizing something is really profound talking here to you, because this is also a 3, right? So recognize that something is really important for you to see. The isolation is that sometimes you don't want to see that these women, as powerful they are and as much as they being admired, they're also very much isolated. And it's that iciness, it's that coldness. It's sometimes saying, well, the female aspect knows that things come and go. She is more in tune with the cycle of life because she gives birth. And so the masculine fears, of course, the feminine. And in there, though, you see 3 times now the 3 coming at you. And so Venus in your sign is literally saying, don't isolate yourself. Be this incredible woman. Be creative. Be this Empress, right? And be this strong female figure, but don't isolate yourself. Don't go into a place where you see that you have now altogether 6 swords, and 6 swords is learning again, is learning what's out there. Then the 6, the lovers, right, Gemini, and then the 6 of Pentacles, right, Moon in Taurus, and the 6 of Wands. It's like very clear, right, that the 6 then is a good number, but the 3 in itself here, in the way you think, sometimes it's be careful. Don't isolate yourself and think that you're superior, that you're better than everybody else, just because now twice here the Empress is really talking, right? But in a way, this is the station. So this card was given, but it solidifies that yes, Venus is in your sign, and so observe the 33. Don't put yourself into the isolation. Don't put yourself into a place where you sometimes think, well, I know everything, right? I know how the system works, and so I can just you know, be a little bit how I want to be. But no, this is where Aries comes in, right? Take that action forward. Take the Ace of Swords, right? Remember that that's your mind that is coming in. Remember that you understand always there is a message. There is a way of living this life. And so you are here to learn that. You are here now to invite the Empress into your home. She is in your place, not for too long, right? Because here Neptune is going to be 14 years in Aries. So Aries is going to feel the dream world more and more, stronger and stronger. And the more you are seeing that, the more you can also work with that and empower people. But knowing that the Empress has come, knowing that the Empress is going to be living in your house, that Venus is in your house, is going to push you for the next, I don't know how long she's going to be in Pisces. Maybe you want to look that up. I don't know it right now by heart, but she's going to be there and it's going to push the buttons, but the right ones, so that you can really love yourself. So I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when we get the Sun in Taurus, and Taurus has come up through the 6 of Pentacles, right? Giving and taking, learning to understand the material worthiness of self. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.